Good evening. My name is Sherry Ness. This is the Blue Seahorse Show. I have my guest with me again this evening, Jane Flanagan. Tonight, we're going to talk about helping children to solve problems, um, helping them at an early age so that we don't have a broken adult as they get older. I thought we'd center on like the 2-year-olds, well, preschool to 2-year-olds. Thinking as parents, um, what are we going to do? Are we going to enable our children, or are we going to teach our children? You know, I'm thinking, okay, um, when a child gets up in the morning, are they to get up in the morning? Are they to run right out of their bedroom, go play, do whatever, or do we want them to wake up, get dressed? That includes shirt, pants, underpants, socks, shoes. How do we want these children to present themselves when they first get up in the morning? Do we want to allow our kids to dress themselves? Do we want to lay their clothes out the night before? You know, color coordinating, are we going to worry about that when they're 2-year-old? Maybe when they're 5 or 6-year-old, we might worry about that.
Yeah, too, they kind of want to do their own fashion, no matter what it looks like. They want to do their own fashion, so my daughter always had the opportunity to, at that age, to pick out her own clothes, and they always didn't look that great. Socks didn't didn't match, but, I think that's where you need to start, and then start showing them as they get older, how to do all of that.
Well, I know I tried with my children when they were real young, and even today, for some odd reason, they still have issues. In an attempt to do things correctly, lay out your clothes the night before. I will help you. This is how you can do this to help you as you get older. Say getting up in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed till 6 or 6:30, and you got to be to work at 7. Why are you not going to do this the night before, so that you're not running around the house the next morning trying to figure out what you're going to wear? So when the children are smaller, say, I know at my home it was the socks and underwear were in the top drawer. The shirts, short sleeve, long sleeve, in the next drawer,
Yeah.
separating things. But this is your time.
And keeping them in the same spot.
Right, but this is the time that we could teach our children too. Would you, do you have a different way that you would like your clothes in the drawer? Do you want to color coat your clothes? Do you, do you want the socks in the bottom drawer? Trying to allow your children to have the opportunity to choose that themselves, having them help you do that, will help the children as well. Marking the drawers. I know I was talking to a friend earlier today, and we were talking a little bit about this. And he mentioned to me, okay, you've got your drawers, you've got the top drawer marked, socks, underwear, with a little marker, tape, little marker, something real simple. And one day, after they have figured out where their socks are, where everything is, to go in there one day and switch things around. When the children go back into the room, it gives them an opportunity to think about things, to decide and kind of figure out, critically think, I guess is what I want to say. They can actually go in there, and they can actually take time to figure out where their clothes and things are at.
Problem solve.
Problem solve, yes.
We had a thing at our house because my daughter always went to a babysitter. She packed her backpack the night before and got ready, had everything ready for it, before she's in school, whatever she's gonna use that day, toys or whatever. And then once she started going to school, she had to pack her school clothes, 'cause I took her to the babysitter with her pajamas, except in the winter. And so we always had all of that done the night before. It was usually a shower, pack your bag, and be ready for the next day.
Well, I know another important thing is teaching them to do this when they are that small, is as they get older and they're separating from their mother, father, they're going to grandmas, grandpas, aunts and uncles. Maybe they have adult siblings. They're going away for the night to stay. Mama says, well, go to your room and pack your bag. Have you taught them how to pack that bag? Have you watched what they're doing? You have to observe and you have to watch these children when they're smaller. So as they get older, they're going to be able to do this themselves and not be so upset at you when you have to tell them that you didn't do that right. Did you tell them how to do that right? Children will pack their bags. Okay, mom sees, okay, they have a backpack. Looks like it's got things in it. They send them off to wherever they go. Lo and behold, they forgot to pack socks and pants. They remembered their shirt and underwear, but they didn't have any socks and pants in the
Right.
bag, right?
And the toys are more important than the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You always gotta, they tend to pack the stuff they want, not the stuff that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just gotta train them, teach them what's important,
Mm-hmm.
especially to us, because you don't wanna get a call. Like my mom used to take my daughter, and they would just go to Kmart or something and, get them clothes, because I'd work all weekend, so they would just go and get her clothes. They thought it was a joke,
Right.
that I was doing it to get new clothes.
Okay, well, okay, so we're gonna move it forward a little bit. They've gotten out of bed. We have gotten them dressed. It might take a 2-year-old an hour. It might take them an hour to get dressed, but in helping them the night before, getting their clothes out, let them have that hour. So then what do they do next? I guess we're gonna talk about some house rules now. What else are they gonna do before they leave the room? Have you taught them these things? Have you helped them to think about different things they
Like
can
make
do?
your bed,
Make your bed. Yes, make your bed's a big one.
put your dirty clothes in the basket.
They're gonna mess it up, but they're gonna make an attempt. Like what I used to always do with my children, when they were little, let's go to your room and make your bed. I would help them a
Help
few
them,
times.
yes.
Show them how to put the sheet on, show them how to put the cover on. Watch them as they proceed to do it themselves. They don't get it perfect, but they're making the attempt. They're making the attempt, and as they continue to do that, they are going to get better. But okay, we've got their bed made, we've got their clothes dressed, so now it's time to eat. 2-year-olds can be little slobs, right? But you're at that point, they're really learning how to use their spoons, or learning how to use their forks. But they also would like to help mom. Mom's at the stove, mom's cooking. They want to get in there and they want to help. Well, here is another teaching moment. Children, they might walk by the stove and they think, oh, the pan on the stove, I'm hungry. Stick their finger on it, stick their hand on it. It burns. Okay? Well, rather than yelling at them saying, well, you shouldn't touch that, it's hot, it's burning. Teaching moment. Teach them that when the pan is hot, there are several things that you can do. Mom had that burner on. You know that that's going to be hot. Now you felt it. Hot burns your finger. So this is what mom does. Mom uses pot holders. Mom might just wait for that pan to cool before I touch it. There's always everything those children will do as they're real small. They're always discovering new things to do. And every chance that a parent gets and observes this is a teaching moment for your child.
Make sure they do it right.
Ask the allow the children to ask you questions. Ask your children.
Even though why may come out 100 times.
Mhm,
You know, why are you doing that? Well, you gotta be patient and explain.
mhm.
You know, you're stirring it so it doesn't burn, and, you know, keep their hands off of stuff. And
Yeah,
it's all teaching them how to do it right.
yeah, need to avoid, avoid a yelling match. If your child asks you a question, there is a reason why they have asked you that question. They are trying to learn something new.
Yeah.
Most likely, they're trying to learn something new. I um, allow them to ask that question, offer them ideas as to an answer. Well, if A happened, what would B be? For example, we get back to we'll go back to the bedroom a little bit. You know, would you rather, a good example is, would you rather have these red pants with the red shirt that matches those pants?
Right.
Or would you rather me put all the pants in this pile, all the shirts in this pile? Let them have a choice of how they want their belongings to be.
Make their own style.
Make their own style
Even
in
though
their
it
room.
doesn't match.
Even though
Even
it
though-
doesn't match. Now, as they get a little older, children, when they get into their teens and high school, I mean, that's going beyond this stage, they're gonna get very picky.
Right.
They're going to be more color-coded. They're going to most likely be very sloppy unless they've had that basic opportunity when they were younger um, to learn
To be
those
creative.
things, to be creative and to be clean. But then again, I think for some of those that have, and you're gonna get into the teenagers and their little quirks and their little changes as they get to that point. But at the time they get to be a teenager, they are more independent. They are gone longer. They are in school all the time. Setting those foundations when they're younger, having your clothes set out the night before, making your bed before you go to school, having a healthy breakfast, cleaning up your mess. Oh, don't forget your teeth. Don't forget to brush your teeth.
Right.
That sort of thing. Are you dressed appropriately for the weather? That's a big one too. When you allow your younger children, your 2-year-old, to dress themselves, are they dressed appropriate for
For the
going
snow.
outside, for the snow, for 90 plus humidity outside? Are they wearing a sweatshirt and long pants with a hat and it's 90 degrees outside? Because they may not know that, because they may be inside and you've got the air conditioning running and they're cold. And so that,
And especially in the wintertime, I've seen little kids in the store that have just flats on with no socks or anything. And I've always thought to myself, isn't somebody checking that? Because it's so cold and it's so wet, and you see a lot of these little kids, and it's probably, they did dress themselves. That was their style. And they I don't know if they were, they might not have been trained that they couldn't wear that, But we have a time in our life when we have to teach, the kids. Because we just automatically get up and throw stuff on and we're good. And I don't know, because I was taught by my mother how to do things, how to cook and, all kinds of stuff. I guess that just come natural to me to do that with my daughter, so.
I don't remember, I think for the most part, when I was younger, for the most time, my mama did a lot. My mama set out our clothes. We always had our clothes ready to go in the morning. She never harped on us. They lived downstairs. All of our rooms were upstairs. So she never had to look at them, okay? Because she never went upstairs. So hardly ever did I make my bed. I dressed myself from a very early age, but a lot of these things that we're talking about today, um, I learned them on my own, and I guess maybe from watching other people, I suppose. But now that's where we get into the broken adult. Many um, parents today, some of them are very, very young. Some of them do not know how to teach their children because they never were allowed to problem solve or think about what they were doing at any hour or time of the day. All they knew is it was dark outside and they had to go to bed. It was daylight. They could get up, maybe grab something to eat if they could figure out how to do it. A lot of young children have over the years just had to fend for themselves and grew up without that model
Like the
figure.
latchkey kids.
Without that figure in their life. But yeah, so there's just a lot of things you can do with these children if they're
And
early.
there's so many parents now, both parents work. So with both parents working, the kids are kind of fending for themselves and grabbing whatever they can to eat. And I've ran across that, at the community center, and they don't know how to read recipes and stuff. Where we were taught how to do that. We were taught how to, like I was taught how to cook without measuring, and I still do that. So when I'm trying to give somebody a recipe, I have to measure stuff. And especially with my daughter, because she's the exact And so we did a lot of that stuff that kids nowadays, over the past few years, have never done. The parents are working. There may be babysitters in the house, or they're there by themselves, like a latchkey kid, So they're not being trained how to solve problems.
But that's just another thing too. Even as these parents that didn't, for instance, the one you were talking about didn't know how to cook for her children, and she's having number 4.
Yeah.
It was a teaching moment for you. You had to actually show her this is how you make a basic box of macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
And so then I hope that when she went away from that, she was able to cook for a little bit more for her children.
Well, and we were fortunate that the kids, the girls that came down there, they came for a few months. So, like that girl, she didn't even know whether she should drain off the macaroni. She called it spaghetti. And we were lucky that we had them for a little while where we could, because we had to feed them while they were there. They were turned out from a shelter, and so we took them in for the winter. So we had a few months that we could teach them a little bit of something. Like I'd ask the kid, well, what did you have? Pop-Tart. That's all he had before he got there. So, we had the opportunity to teach them a little bit of something they got to take away from us,
Mm-hmm.
which was really helped me because like you, I tend to worry about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That was the reason we took them in.
My kids, they're adults today, and I know my younger one, she still calls me today and asks me how to make what I would think would be simple dishes. Mom, how do I make this? I find myself laughing. I just laugh at her. I say, trying to teach children when they're young to cook. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
But it's a lot of hard work. You have to have the patience with the children when they're younger to do so. There's another thing, okay, teaching your child between day and night. Not excuse me, not just that it's light outside when it's daytime. It's dark outside when it's nighttime. Things like Street lights come on at night. 6 o'clock news. You know it's getting close.
Right.
11 o'clock news, you better be sleeping. 7 o'clock in the morning, oh, cartoons. Different things, different times of the day, time frames during the day, different things are happening is a better way to teach your child, this is daytime, this
Right.
is nighttime. So that they know that daytime is not just because it's light outside, because it's dark.
Right. There's things to do within that daylight time.
Mhm.
You know, just like my daughter, when the news come on, that it was time to take a shower and get ready for the next day.
Right.
Of course, when it's summertime, of course, we got to be out playing a little bit longer, but not too much off of her schedule. So, and I think a kid needs a schedule too.
Yeah,
because-
they need a schedule, but they also, and with that schedule, they need to be able to ask questions and have a variety of answers offered to them, a variety of opportunities, if you will, available to them during that time frame.
Right.
We don't want to always, they're going to get set, even 2-year-olds get set in their ways, right? So they might be, okay, well, is it okay, Mama, that we have our television at 7 o'clock in the morning? Well, there's some house rules you can set. Okay, you can have your cartoons at 7 o'clock in the morning, but are you going to be willing to get up, get yourself dressed, reminding them gently, it takes you about an hour to get dressed, so are you going to want to get up by 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, have that time to get dressed, then come in and it's going to take you another half an hour, 45 minutes for your breakfast. Now we're into 8 o'clock. Are you going to be willing to get up that early and do these house things that we need to do? Maybe we should set a cartoon time for 9 or 10.
Right. Yeah, different. Yeah, because when they get up, you have to keep them in that routine of getting dressed and all that, no matter what day it is. Just like on Sunday, you have to do all that, get ready for church. So that's what I'm saying, you kind of have to have them on a schedule. And the schedule for cartoons has to be, I would think, be their choice. We always had a choice in our house. After cartoons, you had to go play. We had that schedule. So I think it has to be that way. It worked for us when we were kids, and worked for my daughter.
We just need to avoid the yes or no answers. We need to make sure that the children know there are options.
Right.
Big thing for me was, and the big thing that I try to tell other people is never make your child that young feel as though they cannot come to you if something isn't working for them. Well, I guess what I mean by that is, if you've been allowed to work with your child, let them critically think about things. This is the way they want this to be. This is the way they don't want to do. They don't want to do it that way. If they was to come back to you one day, Mama, this isn't working, allow them a chance to rethink and decide on a better way that's for them.
How to correct it.
Just don't change it for them. Give them that opportunity to help make that change.
To solve that problem.
Yep. It's a
Because
big.
they can solve problems if they just are given the opportunity.
They're a wealth of information, and when they're that little. I know my grandson's going to be 4, and there are some things that come out that boy's mouth that it's, where did you learn that? He's learning that because he's having the opportunity to think about things and be positive at a young age. But boy, some of the stuff, the vocabulary is just, it's over the top. I get really impressed with him when he's that in that in that frame of mind, I guess, if you will. But,
When my grandson was younger, and we always took him to church on Sunday, he always amazed me too, because he was always thinking, and we'd be riding in a car or something to go get groceries or something, you know, and he would come up with questions that I would never think would come out of his mouth. And one day we were driving along, and he says, well, when I get to heaven, are you still going to be my grandma? I'm thinking, I don't know. And I had to find the answer for him because I didn't know the answer. And I had to tell him I didn't know the answer. No, I don't know the answer for that, but we'll find the answer, you know.
we'll
And
find it.
Yeah, and he was curious enough to know that that was something he wanted to know, and he wouldn't let me rest until, you know, until he got the answer that he
You know,
wanted.
that just got me thinking, you know, they do. You can learn about death at an early age. I had a cousin pass away not too long ago, and I actually took my grandson with me, and we went up to say goodbye. And what I said to my grandson was that this was my cousin. I called him by name, and I said, he's gone to sleep. He's gone to sleep, and he's not going to awaken where we can talk to him. But he's resting now. He was sick, and he's resting now. So we just need to say goodbye to him and good night to him, and that we would see him again. And he looked at me, then he looked back at my cousin, and he says, good night, my grandma loves you. And we walked away, and it was fine. That's what I mean. He's only 4 years old, and I don't, you know, I just wonder, who has he been watching? Your mama must
They
be
listen.
doing a good job, you know.
They listen, they hear everything, because there was things that would come out of my grandson's mouth or my granddaughter's mouth, and I had to stop and think.
Mhm.
And I knew where it come from, because I could remember, you know, what they were trying to tell me. I can remember things, you know, like Sunday school and that, stuff that happened in Sunday school, and I can remember it. But you don't think they're playing it, you don't think they're paying attention, but they are. They're picking up on everything. And that's why I said when they're small, they learn so fast. Like you said, you know, talking and that, they learn so fast that you're amazed.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, you're an educated woman, and it just amazes you that he's in that state of mind, you know, that he knows all this stuff. And my grandkids would come up with stuff from church and the TV and stuff, and I'm thinking, how in the heck do they remember that, you know?
That is one sign, a significant sign that he and or she, you know, in the case of my grandson, he's being taught. We started teaching him at an early enough age that they are observant. They're observant. They watch. They know
listen.
things.
They
They
listen.
listen. They're very talkative. They're very busy. Not to say that 2-year-olds, if they're not, but he's not. You know, he's not secluded. He's actually had those people around him that would help him to do things. But I know that we are nearing the end of our subject today, and I just want to remind you that our number is on the screen. If anybody is having any problems or anything and needs to give us a call or would like to be on the show, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you, and we'll see you again. Good night.